This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. Once again this week, the Harkles are across almost every tabloid magazine in the UK, as well as they're also featured on the cover of Star magazine. You know who is missing? Prince Andrew. Do we think that this is purposely being done to distract? I think there's a little bit of that. I do want to share this Star exclusive because it does give some insight as to the direction that this couple's going. And that direction is towards divorce. I mean, I think we all knew that this was the path that this was going down, but Star magazine does give a couple of hints as to how they are positioning and steering us in the direction of the narrative that they are now positioning. But let's get into this article and you see if you can read between the lines as to what is going on. Dun dun dun. Harry and Meghan at a crossroads. The article begins, call it a gesture of goodwill. More than 2 weeks after reps for King Charles III and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex met at a private club in London for what's been described as a secret peace summit, a first step towards rebuilding the monarch's strained relationship with his second son, came news that Prince Harry had quietly extended another olive branch. According to a July 26 report, the 40-year-old has offered to share his official schedule of engagements with the royal family. The move is seen as an effort to further reduce tensions amid years of conflict that often see Harry's headline making outings overshadow royals' official events in the news. Sharing schedules could also pave the way for Charles and Harry to find their way to an in-person meeting for the first time since February 2024, when the 76-year-old granted his younger son a brief audience following his cancer diagnosis. Of course Harry cares about his father and worries about him, a source tells Star. He's been kept in the dark about Charles's health status. But sentiment isn't the only thing spurring the fifth in line to the throne to reach a truce. According to the source, there are suspicions Harry's main motivation is to reinstate his taxpayer-funded security. That, along with the Crown's financial support, was withdrawn in 2020 after Harry and wife Meghan Markle left Britain to start a new life in California. Hey guys, did you know that Harry and Meghan stepped back in 2020? In multiple interviews, the pair claimed that they were driven away by attacks in the UK press that were fueled by the palace courtiers with the support of his family. In May, Harry seemed to indicate the rift was permanent when he lost his final legal push to have the state-funded security reinstated. I can't see a world in which I would be bringing my wife and children back to the UK at this point, he said at the time, voicing his conviction that their kids, Archie and little Betty, aren't safe there. He lamented that they will never know the beauty of my homeland. While making up with his family might be in Harry's interests, his willingness to do so is causing problems at home. After all, Meghan remains determined to keep building their life in their $14.65 million mansion in Montecito. Indeed, all the talk of reconciliation is driving a wedge between the couple, says the source, so much so that it's sparking speculation that, per the source, divorce may be an option. Meghan, who has cut off members of her own family, including her father, has made it clear she has no intention of moving back to the UK, says the source. She doesn't have a problem with Harry making peace with his father, but there's fear the royal family will turn Harry against her if that happens, and then where will she be? Let me pause for a second. I do find this interesting because this is really the first time I've ever seen Star, who traditionally is pro-Meghan, ever bring up Meghan's family. They always talk about the royal family, but they never talk about the Markles and Meghan's relationship with them, which is a great segue for them to give the title The Meghan Problem. It's no secret that many of Harry's issues could be solved if he returned to the palace payroll. If he were back in the royal family's good graces and received financial support, that could fix everything, says the source. Namely, he would be the main breadwinner. Meghan wouldn't be so desperate to make money, claims the source. And by extension, the former Suits actress would no longer feel compelled to feature their kids in her social media posts to shill her Netflix show, With Love Meghan, and her As Ever Whatever product line. Although she doesn't show Archie and little Betty's faces, the posts have become another source of safety concerns. Harry was never keen on Meghan using the kids to promote her brands, says the source, but when Meghan shares the kids, it gets millions of views. He supports Meghan's business endeavors, but if it were up to him, the kids would be left out of it. I hope you see how manipulative this article is right now. Considering Harry and Meghan are supposed to be advocates for keeping children safe online, but at the same time, they're putting their kids up on social media because, they need to make money. Well, sell that $14.65 million house and go move somewhere smaller so you could have some cash on you. But here we are now blaming the fact that, poor Meghan has to work because Harry lost the security. Well, Harry, get a job. Meghan needs all the help that she can get. In July, multiple outlets reported that Netflix won't be renewing the $100 million deal it signed with the Sussexes in 2020 come September. Okay, let's stop right there. No, Meghan, you don't need any more help. You've been given every opportunity and you chose to throw it away. You don't get any more opportunities. It's since emerged that Meghan is hoping to sign a first-look deal with the streamer similar to the contract former President Barack Obama and wife Michelle inked after their 2018 $100 million agreement with the company expired. Still, says the source, losing the Netflix deal has been a humiliating blow. Despite the setback on July 30th, Meghan announced a second vintage of her As Ever Whatever rosé wine will go on sale in early August, and there's talk that a third season, of With Love Meghan is a possibility after season 2 airs this fall. She has her team working overtime to make a deal, says the source. Now turning back to Harry, Operation Harry. Harry's hardly the only one who stands to gain from a rapprochement. If Charles were to welcome Harry back into the royal fold, it could prove beneficial for him too, admits a second insider. Not only would it shore up his image as a father, but it could help the increasingly slimmed down monarchy plug some holes. Charles's frail health and ongoing cancer care has deeply curtailed his ability to travel far, for instance. In fact, at the end of his 11-day tour of Australia and Samoa last October, a visibly emotional Charles said he hoped he survives long enough to come back again. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan have proved popular around the globe, making their own quasi-royal excursions to Nigeria and Colombia. Harry isn't afraid to get his hands dirty or his feet wet, adds the second insider. He's very much like his late mother, Princess Diana, that way. I mean, you can see that the Harkle spin doctors are clearly working overtime, but it's not working. This is so farcical. So now you can tell in this next segment that Harry and Meghan are fully behind this, or the anti-monarchists, because listen to how ridiculous this next segment says. In contrast, the Prince of Wales, Harry's brother and the heir to the throne, has yet to overcome his quote-unquote work-shy reputation. The second source reveals that it's well known that he and wife Princess Kate, no, it's Catherine, Princess of Wales, both 43, prefer to show up for the more glamorous, high-profile aspects of duty rather than nitty-gritty work. No, that would be Harry and Meghan. Do you see how they're spinning this? Catherine and William love to be down to earth with people. I mean, we see it. They're just like you and I. I mean, not really, but Catherine and William are more connected to everyday people than those two fools in Montecito who want us to believe that they're just like us, so down to earth. No, when you purposely show up to events that you're not invited to just to get your picture taken, shows the kind of person that you are, Meghan. But I digress. In July, one UK outlet even revealed that a source close to hardworking 74-year-old Princess Anne, whose commitment to substance over spectacle is in direct contrast with William's more curated public engagements, wishes her nephew would do more of the bread and butter royal engagements. She, for example, still handles the bulk of investitures at Windsor Castle, even though William lives on the estate. It annoys her, the source close to her griped. Other critics have been more direct towards William. He barely does anything at all. Graham Smith, CEO of the anti-monarchy campaign group Republic, told NBC News last year, "He's an incredibly lazy man who manages to get a pretty small splashing of engagements to look like he is busy. To be fair, mom of 3, Catherine, has also been dealing with her own cancer. Ensuring a symbiotic relationship could be the key to brokering peace. Charles may not trust Harry completely, but he seems to be softening," notes the second insider. Having Harry back could provide what's needed. As for Harry, says the first source, if he reconciles with Charles, he's a lot closer to getting what he wants. I just can't with this. It's obvious this was a hit piece on William and Catherine out of Montecito, for sure. You're going to compare the work that William and Catherine are doing by cherry picking and selecting certain ones and bringing up events where the Sugars were responsible for spreading so much hatred against the monarchy. So, of course, they're going to show us how relatable and down to earth Harry and Meghan are. They're just willing to roll up their sleeves and show up and do good. See Harry and Meghan posing with vulnerable people while Catherine and William make them look untouchable, make them look like they're in a different class than the rest of us. Come on. And here's the thing. Star Magazine has people out there that do believe this garbage, especially if they're not following it close enough. They'll just pick it up, look at it, and be like, yeah, poor Meghan and those kids, they'll never get to know their family. Meanwhile, they have no idea that Harry and Meghan did this to themselves. I really would not be surprised if some BS comes up and Harry goes back to the royal family and he gets his security reinstated. I don't think security is ever going to get instated for Meghan, but I don't think Prince Harry lost it in the first place. That's just my opinion. But they're trying to figure out, how do we position this narrative to then, shut this all down? I really do. I think this is how they're trying to do it. But the public is not believing any of it. None of it. Or at least I'm not believing it. So now across the pond, we have the same shit going on. Closer Magazine, they're now positioning the late Princess Diana around, well, Mummy wouldn't want this for us. And I'm pretty sure they're going to weave into the narrative that, King Charles doesn't have that much longer. We should make amends just for the sake of our father. And you know how this goes. Now, this spin is pretty interesting. It says here, the next couple of years are set to be critical for the royals, but while Prince Harry is hoping upcoming projects might heal the ongoing family rift, an insider tells Closer it may prove challenging if Meghan Markle is involved. Now, it's just my opinion, but I think the palace is involved with this article. It says here, the Duke, who was last week criticized for his part in a damaging bullying row at his ex-charity Santa Bali, which he set up in honor of his mother, Princess Diana, will see his beloved Invictus Games back in the UK in 2027, with that summer also marking the 30th anniversary of Diana's tragic death. And with 2 years until the poignant occasion, there's plenty of time for Harry, 40, to put plans in place. An insider reveals to Closer there's a documentary in the pipeline, and Harry wants members of the royal family at the Invictus Games supporting him and the event. Remembering Diana on the 30th anniversary of her death is also very important for her boys, and Harry is keen to mark it together. But while Harry hopes that the next few years can pave the way to a family reunion, the insider adds that it will be no easy feat getting Prince William on board. The future king is refusing to join forces with his brother if his sister-in-law Meghan is involved. Good for him. He should stay far away from that viper. They reveal Harry desperately wants his brother's involvement, or at least his blessing, and he wants to be able to return to his homeland without fearing tension or drama, as he strongly feels it's what their mother would have wanted. But William is hesitant. He doesn't want Meghan anywhere near a project about Diana. For him, it should only be about the brothers. William's still hurt by the public attacks and sees no reason to patch things up on Harry's timetable. Amid the royal fallout, both William and Harry came together in 2021 to unveil Kensington Palace's Diana statue. However, their rift has only grown more bitter since then, and there have long been reports of bad blood between Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and former Suits actress Meghan. In her infamous Oprah interview, the Duchess alleged that the Princess of Wales had made her cry on her wedding day, saying, "It really hurt my feelings." No, that's not accurate. Meghan didn't say that Catherine made her cry on her wedding day. But anyhow, who's paying attention? Now, insiders say their complicated past has left Catherine also feeling wary. They reveal each revelation from Oprah to the Netflix documentary left Catherine's heart sinking. Meghan creates another level of pain for Catherine, and that's something she feels can never be mended. For her, it's done and dusted. She'll only be in the same room as Meghan if she really has to. Catherine is still nursing wounds from the past. No, I think she's moved on and doesn't think about Meghan. That's just my opinion. She's not ready for a public reconciliation. In a recent interview with Closer, Diana's former royal butler, Paul Burrell, 67, drew comparisons between Diana and Catherine. He gushed, "I think Kate is continuing Diana's legacy. I think William and Harry see me as carrying their mother's baton as well. They know that I protect her legacy and that I'm proud to be associated with an incredible human being like Diana." While Catherine's following in Diana's footsteps, our insider shares her respect for Diana is beyond doubt, but she is not willing to stand next to Harry in a public display that feels forced. Speculation around a potential royal reconciliation between the warring royals has grown since aides for the Sussexes and King Charles met for peace talks earlier this year. Closer can reveal that Prince Harry is also set to return to the UK in September. Oh, joy, UK! Harry's coming your way for the Well Child Awards. And while he failed to secure a private audience with King Charles during his last visit, he's determined not to miss the opportunity this year. Charles is willing to talk, but he wants this to be a one-on-one meeting with no distractions, and Meghan is simply not welcome. This is about father and son, not about the Sussex brand, the insider says. In the meantime, Harry's holding out hope that his family may well soften in time for his 2027 projects. The source adds, Harry wants palace backing, but that means repairing relationships first. At this rate, if Harry undertakes anything in Britain that's deemed official, it'll be solo, including the Diana tribute. This is what Harry's finding hard to accept. Everything he's doing right now is all for Diana, and he wants to make her proud by making peace with his brother. Only time will answer whether his family will stand beside him. Yeah, there's no doubt, I feel, this is my opinion, that the palace is behind this article, because you can clearly see how they've laid out this timeline for Harry to get back home. So they mentioned that Harry's going to be in the UK in September for the Well Child Awards. Don't be surprised if we start seeing headlines after this award ceremony that Harry met with the king privately and they have started to reconcile, but they still have a long way to go because they have to work on William. And don't be surprised if the olive branch was extended from King Charles to invite Harry for Christmas. And then what do you know? What do you know? In 2026, Harry is going back to the UK for Diana's 30th anniversary of her tragic death, and there him and his brother William patch things up, and then before you know it, Invictus is around the corner, and the royal family is now all back together without Meghan. And in between all of this, Meghan goes off onto her different path in which, they eventually get divorced and separated or whatever. But Meghan is no longer in the picture. Like I said, in the last dump that they did with these tabloids, Meghan is being phased out. And this is a clear example of why I believe that. Now, I wasn't going to cover this third story, Meghan, I'm Not a Bully, being featured on the cover of Heat magazine in the UK, but I think it's necessary because it concerns us, and Meghan positioning being the victim again. Oh, poor Meghan. Harry and Meghan, crisis talks over new bullying claims. I mean, I feel like they have crisis talks every single week because there's always something. It says here, she was all smiles last week while celebrating her 44th birthday, but after being hit with more bullying allegations, insiders have revealed that Meghan Markle is at loggerheads with Prince Harry over how to tackle the fallout. Our source says Meghan and Harry just can't catch a break. It's one crisis after another. Well, when you look at the law of the universe, it's virtually impossible to mess up on everything. So you have to consider the fact that maybe it's intentional. Anyway, every time they try to move forward, something drags them back. They feel like there's a coordinated effort to destroy them. Harry's desperate to keep pushing forward with their PR comeback, but then bullying claims resurface and they're back to square one. He says it's like they're living in a never-ending smear campaign, and Meghan is furious that people still believe these lies. Oh, you mean the truth, Meghan? Something that you're allergic to? The Duchess of Sussex spent her birthday surrounded by her close inner circle. Did anybody ever ask where was Harry for Meghan's birthday? Posting to social media, she wrote, "To those of you who I don't know, but who send love every day, thank you so much." Oh, you mean the squad that you're paying? Please know I feel it and appreciate it. But although Meghan's feeling the love, there's heat coming her way too, as the past week has seen the former actress hit by even more horror stories about her alleged bullying behavior. Royal correspondent Valentine Lowe first broke the bullying claims in 2021 article in the UK Times. In it was alleged that former Royal Communications Secretary Jason Kanoff had filed a complaint 3 years before about Meghan's treatment of staff members, saying she had driven 2 personal assistants out of the household. Lowe followed this up with more explosive allegations about her behavior in his 2022 book, Courtiers, The Hidden Power Behind the Crown. Opening up on the Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered podcast last week, the author further revealed why palace staff waited years before exposing the woman they nicknamed Duchess Difficult. He explained that some of them were still in a fragile state, adding that they viewed Meghan's capacity for revenge as infinite. Yeah, I think we can understand that. Lowe went on to say that he believes the fact the Sussexes had 25 staff in total leave since 2017 show they're tough to deal with. If they were difficult to work for then, they're difficult to work for now, he said. The Sussexes have always strongly denied the allegations, calling them false and offensive. And behind the scenes, we're told the stress is causing tensions for Harry and his wife, who share son Archie and daughter little Betty. That's kind of odd. Why didn't they just say that they're parents to Archie and little Betty? They share son Archie and little Betty? Our source reveals it's been causing real problems because they'd both rather handle the situation differently. Meghan wants to go on the attack. She feels very strongly about defending herself and setting the record straight. I mean, how many times does Meghan get to set her record straight when so many people have been silenced by this woman? No, Meghan, we're going to continue to keep speaking and we're going to continue to keep calling out on your bullshit. Her response is to fight back harder while he just wants it all to stop. Oh, really, Harry? Maybe then tell your online dogs to back the F off. They're very united in public, but privately, these differences have led to some tense conversations. Meghan and Harry have previously called the bullying allegations part of a calculated smear campaign against them, and our source says the Duchess is feeling worn down by the hurtful narrative. Oh, poor you, Meghan. What about all the people that you've hurt? Should we have that conversation? Our source adds Meghan is deeply upset that these allegations are being dragged up yet again. She feels like no matter what she says or does, people are determined to believe the worst about her. Well, you're just a nasty person. Can't change that, Meghan. You might as well embrace it. Meghan prides herself on being a strong person, but even she admits that the constant cycle is wearing her down. From her perspective, this is less about what actually happened and more about a campaign to damage her career. It's incredibly exhausting, and she's told friends she feels unfairly targeted and misunderstood. No, I think we understand you very well, Meghan, and the public doesn't want it, and that's what you're not understanding. To have bullying allegations resurface is no doubt a blow for Harry, too. It comes amid whispers of royal peace talks, with the Sussexes reportedly inching closer to repairing the very burnt bridges between themselves and the royals. Now, with the bullying hitting headlines again, it's no doubt only causing further distance between them. Harry is under huge pressure to rebuild relations with his family, but worries that every public fight just makes that harder, we're told. The royals don't want to take any chances with Meghan. They see her as unpredictable, especially with all these scandals blowing up. They don't trust her, and every time another allegation comes out, it just proves their point. Meghan now feels caught between protecting her own reputation and supporting Harry as he tries to keep things calm with his family. Well, Meghan, if you weren't such a liar and a divisive force, maybe you wouldn't be having these problems right now. Anyhow, it's a difficult balance, and she's been confiding to friends how lonely that can feel. Meanwhile, Harry is preoccupied with his own public drama. Earlier this year, the Duke of Sussex left his role at Tabloid, a charity he set up in 2006 for children with HIV and AIDS, in memory of his mother, Princess Diana, along with several other trustees who resigned following a dispute with chairperson Dr. Sophie Chandoka. Dr. Chandoka later went on to accuse Harry of harassment and bullying at scale, but last week, independent government regulator the Charity Commission released its findings, saying that there was no evidence of bullying or harassment within the charity. However, they did criticize the prince for allowing the row to play out publicly. With plenty more storms to weather, we're told Meghan and Harry are putting on a united front. Meghan believes the truth is on her side, and she's not willing to let these claims define her, the source shares. She has said she won't let the situation break them, and she and Harry are determined to get through this. But she admits it's been one of the most stressful periods of their marriage. Well, nobody cares, Meghan. Now, that's the end of this article. Could it be that all of these tabloids with Harry and Meghan on the cover is being done to sell tabloid papers? Probably. But also, I think it is to suppress this Prince Andrew bombshell in Andrew Lowney's book that was released today. Now, the reason why I have been going over these stupid tabloid articles is to show everybody how they are positioning themselves with this narrative of Harry wanting to reconcile. And you can see the difference in these articles. It is positioning Harry to go on back home while leaving Meghan behind. And this has been going on for several weeks now. I think many of you are starting to see what I'm talking about, especially when you look at all these tabloid articles and the various players that could be behind it. Case in point, Star Magazine. We know that that's coming from California. These other two tabloids, most likely the Sussex PR machine in London, probably put those stories out. And over time, you can see how they're repeating certain messages of the King's communication secretary and Harry and Meghan's PR people had met together. I mean, how many times do they have to repeat that they've gotten together for this so-called peace summit? even if you could call it that. You know what I'm saying? But they are putting this into the public to make the narrative stick. And that's why they keep repeating it. I mean, this is what I'm observing. Tell me, does this appear like you're getting that vibe too? I want to know what you think about this. Definitely leave your thoughts below. And as always, I will be back with more content. But until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
You're such a fraud.